All right, construction champions, it's your host, Ron Nussbaum, and we're here for another amazing episode of Construction Champions Podcast, where, as always, we're burning the house down so we can rebuild it. Not because we pissed somebody off or it was a bad project. We're building it back up, and that house is you. It's your business. It's your relationships with your significant others, your employees, everything around you. It's just one big old get together and look in the mirror moment for everybody. And you guys don't just show up for me, you guys show up because of our amazing guests. And today's no different. We have a legend in the industry. Joe, it is fantastic to have you here with us.
Hey, Ron, thanks for inviting me, man. You know what? I love your opening, and I think I'm going to have to take a few pro tips from you on that. And so thank you for inviting me here. I tell you what, I'm a big fan of your podcast and of your work, and I love the energy you bring people here, and that's really what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring my A game today. I didn't come here to make people sit in their seats. I came here to get you to spring out of your seats and take action. That's what we're going to try and do. I'm going to give you some actionable items to improve your sales starting today.
Oh man, that's my favorite thing is when guests come on here and they actually give people stuff to do. I love it. So, but why don't you introduce yourself for any of the champions out there listening that might not know who you are? Why don't you let them know?
Well, I am Joe Crisara, America's service sales coach with Service MVP. I have 47 years in the trade since 1977. I started out, I've done every single job in a service or contracting business, everything from service to new construction. I even used to work in a factory making heat pumps and stuff like that. So I've done everything in the business you could possibly do. I've learned the first 24 years I learned how to do everything wrong. I would say it's my superpower. My superpower is I still today, to this day, can smell when somebody does something wrong. I don't even if you see it or hear it. I can just smell it, you know. And then I also have 24 years of knowing exactly what to do right to offset that. And so I'm here today to eliminate the 24 years for you, so you don't have to worry about the 24 years of doing it wrong. You could just start immediately on doing things that are more correct. And they may be hard to hear, but they are more correct. Yeah, I tell you that. The first 24 years drove me into severe debt, and the last 24 years drove me into severe wealth. So I'm proud to bring you both of those stories if you want to hear them. And I wrote a new book, but they have both things in there. So I think both things are important, so people can see that this guy knows how to fail and he knows how to succeed. That's really what I'm here for.
Well, there's no better teacher than somebody that's been there on both sides of it, not just on one side, but has been there on both sides of it. So I'm excited to dive into our conversation. I'm going to open it up with asking the $1,000,000 question, and that is, what makes a construction champion?
Hey everyone! Wondering why you need builder comms for your next construction project? Here are 3 solid reasons. First, it keeps your team and clients seamlessly connected in real time. No more delays or communication mishaps. Second, all your critical documents are organized and just a click away. Lastly, accessibility to project photos is immediate and secure. So get builder comms now and experience stress-free project management like never before. Get yours now and simplify your construction projects.
To me, what makes a construction champion is that the recognition that even though construction is based on a lot of materials, measurements, tolerances, quality of the work, the reliability of the solution we provide, what people don't realize is that there's the people part of the business. And if you're out of balance, I call a construction professional who's only focused on the construction part of the job, or the furnace AC, the framing, the roofing, and just whatever you do, whatever your trade is. If you're only focused on the technical part of that job, you're missing the biggest opportunity, which is connecting the technical problems and the technical solutions to the people who you're serving. And I think that is something that's lost on most people. And the reason I think it is, Ron, I think we're all set up to fail because the manufacturers of all the materials, who are the people who generally teach us this stuff, are focused on showing us how to use the materials better, in a way, How do you install a furnace better? How do you get that roof under limit? How do you get that framing done right? How can you use this new screw gun or whatever? It's even the tool manufacturers. It's all about, the things that you're working on, not the people you're working for. And I think a champion has to take the technical part of the thing and the tools we use and the materials we're going to do, the way we secure things together, which are more reliable and higher quality, to be able to explain the impact that those things are going to have on your customer long term and short term. If you do it wrong, it'll be a short term problem. If you do it right, it'll be a long term solution. I think that I have a thing called the 25-year rule that if I work, I don't care what I do. If you told me, Joe, you're going to be a roofer tomorrow, I'm like, well, I don't know about roofing right now, but I do know that if I get involved, it's going to be a 25-year installation if I did one. So you know what I'm saying there? It's like I will find the best way of doing something, even if I'm not in this industry yet, and I'll make sure we're going to do it that way, and I'll make sure people see enough value in that, because the reason why the price, it's not a pricing game, Ron. It's a game of showing people a customized, relevant solution, and then you can't put it, because here's the truth. Write this down, everybody. You can't put a price on something that's being meant for your family. When it comes to your daughter having a good night's sleep because the furnace is nice and warm, or your son being able to take a shower, or your wife in a beautiful kitchen when her family comes over, those are things that you can't see, touch, and feel. But those are the reasons why people get a kitchen done, or why they get a remodeling done, or why they get their basement finished, or whatever type of thing. Because when people come over, or they want to come home, they want to come home to like a vacation spot. They don't want to have to leave the house to be on vacation. They want the vacation to start when you're home. And so I think construction champion to me is somebody who is at least in balance. The balance, 50%. This call is going to be about the client, and 50% about the technical solution we do. I really believe that both of those things have to be at least 50-50. If you go too much on one side, you're all people and you don't have technical chops, you're going to have a problem there too, right? So you got to have good on both sides. That's what I feel.
Awesome. No, I love that. And that value proposition, it's not about the price, it's about the value. Like that is so relevant. And we lose ourselves in industry jargon, and we think like that's what the customer wants to hear, because then it validates that we're an expert in this. But we completely lose, like, when your wife gets up in the morning or comes home from work, you want her to have a hot shower, correct? Like, we lose that interaction where people are actually thinking about what's the impact of what I'm buying from this person.
Mm-hmm. It's like not only that, but when you explain the problem too, it's like, John, really gets me is that, what'd you tell me before about your daughter, Amy? Yeah, she's got asthma. Yeah, that really bothers me, because here's the problem we have with your ductwork. It's got fiberglass coming in from the leakage. So you have duct leakage, could be a thing for HVAC guys, but that doesn't mean anything. But your daughter Amy breathing fiberglass means something, right? So that's I'm just trying to slow it down. And any trade has the same thing. It's like, Joe, it's really bothers me is you got what's happening this September. Yeah, we got my daughter's wedding happening in our backyard. Yeah, Joe, here's what's going to get me. You got these screws. You got this old deck you got here, and you're expecting us to do this thing and have your people enjoy this wedding, and with these things are going to come apart here, or this deck is going to not be able to hold those people. I hate to see a tragedy happen at your home. Like, see, that's the element of why would I fortify a deck or whatever? Why when I paint a structure, when I build a structure, whatever I'm doing, you got to say, how is it relevant to the people? If it was wrong, it's more important, actually, just like I said before when I started this program, knowing what I did wrong for 24 years is equally important to knowing the right way of doing it for 24 years, right? But one way without the other doesn't mean it's higher quality. If I only tell you how to do things right, but I don't bring up the thing that could happen if we do it wrong, I think that's really what value is, right? Value is, here's the problem and here's how it's impacting you. Here's a solution. Here's how this is going to impact you, right? I think that's really what I think a construction champion is able to communicate fully. Because I would say if you only talk about the problem technically and the solution technically, it's a check swing, I call it. You're only swinging the bat halfway through the strike zone. If you want to get a sharp single up the middle, or a double, or a home run, you got to swing all the way. I think the people part of it is equal to swinging that bat all the way through the strike zone. So you get a contact, you're going to get the ball to go a lot more further and a lot better exit velocity, if you will say that, right?
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. And what I know the manufacturers, they spend a lot of time on educating us on their products because that's what they want us to sell. But like, how do guys get over, like, how do they start to put two and two together? Is it just a reps game, or is it like really intentionally going after this to start to be able to build this value into it so they get to that 50-50 and they're not, most guys right now are probably 95-5 and the fives and ats in it.
Well, if it only was a repetition game, uh, I think everybody here would be amazing at it, right? So it's very possible, like for me, for 24 years, that you would do something wrong, right? So I had 24 years of doing it wrong. It wasn't because I chose to do something wrong. It's because I wasn't ignorant to something right. I didn't know right the right way. So I don't blame anybody who's trying hard. I'm not trying to say to work harder. I'm saying to work smarter, right? And so what I learned was, like I'd say looking at my whole 48 years of doing service business since 1977 till now, because I run a service business now. This is service for contractors and training and salespeople and service people. What I learned in these years is that I'd say although I put 24 years here and 24 years there, 80% of the effort I had to make was in the wrong way of doing it. The right way is way easier. It's like I don't know, if you have the right hammer and you're trying to hit the right nail, it's easier than using a sledgehammer as the wrong tool on a small little nail. If you're trying to hit a finishing nail, you need a finishing hammer. If you need a framing, you need a framing hammer. If you need to break up concrete, you need a sledgehammer. You can't break up concrete with a framing hammer. If you did, you'll be working all day on that damn thing. So you follow me on this? It's like I don't blame service contractors or people because they just don't have. So here's the thing I would recommend. There's a science to communication, a science to connecting with people. There's companies like Dale Carnegie, Stephen Covey Services, and these are all service companies that have provided a wealth of information. What I've done at Service MVP is consolidate all of those things that I learned. So what's really good about us is we don't just say, here's what to do. We provide the source material that I learned it from and said, you can learn, here's what we're going to teach you, my interpretation of this. But if you want to learn even more about connecting, here's a Dale Carnegie place you can go to do that too, because we can only do so much, but there's been so many things that are hidden in plain sight that a service or a construction person just never would have thought, like, I should go to a Dale Carnegie course, or I should go take a Stephen Covey 7 Habits of Highly Effective People course. So a lot of that stuff is baked into our cake here at Service MVP, and that's the lessons that we teach. Here's what I've done. I've eliminated in the training we do the way to do it wrong. We try to say here's the right way, but we also do include what's going to happen if you did it the other way, which is important to say because otherwise people are tempted to explore the wrong way, and like we want to try to remove that temptation in a way. Does that make sense there? So doing it repetitiously is not going to get it done. What will get it done is doing it one time the right way. The clouds part and everybody's like, holy crap, there's sunshine right there behind that cloud. Like, I didn't know giving people a premium mid-range economy choice every time I gave a price would increase my sales by 3 to 5 times more. I didn't know customizing the top option would make that go 10 times more money. It's worth more. I didn't know adding warranty and service as a profit center would add 40% more revenue at an 80% gross profit. But now I know. Like, you just don't know that are golden nuggets, right? They're just spewing out golden nuggets, how to make more money right there, right? But that's what we teach, is how to implement that stuff. That's it,
And I love when you're talking about you're taking stuff that's been there, like Dale Carnegie, Stephen Covey. These are well-respected people. Have done this forever, and you're just, I guess, no pun intended, just layman's terms, like getting it to where people can understand it and go out and implement it and have high success.
Simplicity is one of my highest values, Ron. I try to, you know why? Because I'm the first student that's got to understand this. If I can't teach it to Ron Nussbaum or Joe Crisara, how am I going to teach it to anybody else, right? So we got to be the first. We got to be the first student of our own self to make sure I learn it first. I try to lead the way and see how I can take this subject and bring it down to something really is like connecting, like the Stephen, like the Dale Carnegie thing. I got down to about 5 questions that you need to ask when you're in a home that are key questions they call find the client code. The client code means that there's words that you would use that the client commonly uses. If you were to use those words in your presentation, people are like, yep, I found the right guy. Like what emerges out of it, Ron, is, you know what? The husband looks at the wife and they look at each other and they go, I think we found the guy. I think we found the guy we want to do business with today, right? Or even in a corporate structure, if you're selling to corporate clients, it's like they're in a boardroom and they just give each other that eyeball look, like this is the one, right? Because you can kind of tell that. I think whether it's corporate, because corporations are just a big family, and families are families too. So the bottom line is it comes that what emerges is a moment where people say, this is the right guy to do business with. Even if it costs more, we're going to use this guy. And listen, let me put it this way, guys. Everybody who's been in construction knows, if you know this, that every time you do the job, you're probably one of the more expensive people. If you're going to sustain yourself as a construction professional, you can't do it on cheaper prices. You can't sustain growing a company and even keeping your company by undercutting prices. You have to charge more because you need to have the investment in the work you're doing now, but you also have the investment for marketing and other things that are needed, insurance and things like that. I mean, for everything we do on the job, it's about probably 30% of our job we do, we're selling, there's 60 or 70% things that people, or even more, that we're doing that have nothing to do with the work on the job. The most expensive stuff we do is just running the company and the real estate and everything we have to maintain all that stuff, and the trucks and all that kind of thing. So, I mean, I always say if I had to take somebody, my worst enemy, and do something bad to them, I put them in the construction industry, make them run a construction company of some sort. That would teach it. That would teach them, because it's a lot. And not give them the playbook, right? Put them in this business. It's a great business, and I love it. I would never. I'm going to die with doing this stuff. I just love it. But doing it without the right tools, though, is torture. It really is. And so any of you who feel tortured out there, I definitely have a lot of respect for you. I would have more respect if you were to be smart enough to start searching some of those resources to learn how to do that part of the job equally as good as the work you do.
Yeah, so I'm a huge component of stuff being simpler as well, because at the end of the day, I'm a construction guy. I was a Marine. Like, I'm just this, you can call me this simple whatever, but that's how you get stuff done, and that's how it's repeatable. Why do you think we overcomplicate it? Like, we do a really good job in construction of overcomplicating the most simplest stuff.
Well, I think it's probably Murphy's Law on steroids. I think not only do we think if something can go wrong, it will go wrong, I think we assume it's going to go wrong. Like you can't, like if I tell somebody, first of all, you got to get to know people on a first name basis. And it's like, I can't do that. Like some people are like, it's like, is that complicated? No. How do you do that? People are going to think that's rude or whatever, especially in the South, like you're in Carolina, right? Like I have people in South Carolina, it's like I call them Mr. Ron, or Mr. Nussbaum, and it's like it doesn't even sound right coming out of a guy from North Carolina's mouth, Mr. Nussbaum. But nonetheless, they think that's better than saying, "Hey, Ron." But there's a way to do that. Like you say, "So who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?" You say, "Ron." I just say, "Hey, may I call you Ron, or is there a different name you prefer?" No, call me Ron. Well, Ron, now it's all Ron. So now the more you use like if I was going to teach an AI program to listen to you on a call, I would ask the program, how many times did the person use the client's first name? If the answer is the first name was never mentioned by the service provider, now you got this wall that's between you and the client. And Ron, you've been doing construction long enough to know that construction is a relationship business. Even if it's commercial construction, there's somebody who's the guy who's the point man, and you and him are going to be recommending this to the board. If you're at the family, you got you and the wife, or you and the husband, and we're going to be recommending this to the wife. In a way, it's going to be it's a relationship that we're selling here,
Mm-hmm.
and if we're not able to get the trust, I call the trust funnel, where people are trusting you enough to introduce you to the board or to their wife, you're going to have a problem. You're going to hit a bottleneck where it just turns into email the bid. And what I'm going to tell you here at Service MVP, if you work for a Service MVP and you emailed somebody a bid, you'd be fired the next day. You wouldn't be working here, because I don't believe in emailing bids. I believe in personal presentations of the problems and the solutions, and then getting a clear future to get the job done, lose the job, or reschedule it. That's all I'm telling you. There's no other outcome. It's going to be, yes, let's get the job done. I tell people, you're welcome to tell me no if you want to, or we can just reschedule for another day to get the job done. What would you like to do on this? The famous words I've developed here, there is a book I wrote called "What Should We Do?" right there. So that book, this is my closing line every time. So here's the prices. What should we? I did the premium, mid-range, economy choice on doing this. What should we do? That's the way we do it. Make sense?
Yeah, no, that absolutely makes sense, and I love it. And I would almost argue that commercial is more of a relationship game than residential is, and I think people don't quite understand that. But like that, commercial is 100% relationships.
For you to get to be able to introduce me to your CFO or CEO or the board, like you're just the building guy or whatever, and it's like, yeah, I'm just gathering bids. That's the that's the guy who tells you, right? And then next thing you know, it's like, you know what, Ron, I need to have you talk to Jim and John, who's the CFO and CEO. You got time today on that? Sure. Right now, actually, they're not busy today. And if they're walking you into that in that boardroom or that conference room, and I guarantee you, the only one who got an audience with those two people, and then those two people are like, we'd have to run this past the board. That's a big idea, Ron. Yeah, well, I'm available. Yeah, can you meet on Wednesday night at 7:00? That's when we have a Zoom meeting. Yeah, I could do that. You want me to come here or do the Zoom? Yeah, come on over. We'll have dinner, and then we'll have, if that kind of thing happens, holy crap, you're in a good position on Wednesday night. When you're with, and we've all, these are all things I'm saying, and it sounds so like offhand, like Joe. You can tell I've been through that treadmill a few hundred times, and I know the destination, how that playbook kind of works. Which is why I'm here. I'm here to help other people who don't know. They have never navigated that playbook. And you, Ron, have. I know that you do running this podcast. But what I say sounds like the ring of truth, because you're like, yeah, this guy knows, because it's so specific what I'm saying, right? That he's got to know what he's talking about, because you can't know it that clearly without that, right?
Oh, yeah, and I look back over my career and all the learning points and stuff that we figured out is it's all the same. Like what you're talking about is what you have to figure out. And for everybody listening out there, like there's one or two ways you can do it. Is you can do 24 years of not having success trying to figure it out and then one day figure it out. Or like I say on here all the time, is you can work with professionals that can get you there a lot quicker than you can get yourself there. And if for everybody listening, we can all tell that Joe knows his shit when it comes to this. Like, I might buy
Well,
something
thanks.
from him on the show. You never know. Like, we might close a deal.
I might give you something for free too. That'll help you buy more later on. It's like, truthfully, I'm very transparent. I believe in simplicity. I believe in transparency. Like when people say, "Hey, how can I buy your service?" I'm like, "Dude, you're not ready yet. You need to. We need to figure out if you're even good. That our service can help you." And I think that's really important, to have credibility, that you don't just rush into things. Even if somebody asks one of your construction people for a bid on something, I'd say, well, just to make sure that we're a good fit for the project, tell us about the project first. Can we meet to talk about the project, so make sure that our company is at the right size and has the right focus to help you? Because wouldn't it be terrible to go out there and go through some kind of a meeting for 2 hours, and then you find out like, oh man, there's no way we have the manpower for that, or that's not really our niche. Building docks or whatever on the front of a lake or something like that. Like, oh, that's not our thing,
Because what
and
always ends up happening is you try to make it your thing, and that
yeah.
is when the jobs go south.
Yeah, it's where you're going to wind up getting yourself and that project's going to take 90% of your effort with only 10% of the profit,
Mm.
way less than 10% of the profit. You'll probably lose money on it. And then you say, then you make it okay. You soothe yourself by saying, well, it's okay. It's our first one. You always lose money in the first one. It's like, no, dude, you don't always lose money. Listen, nobody goes, Starbucks didn't pour their first cup of coffee and say you lose money on your first one. They said, we're going to make money on the first one. And the cup's going to cost more than the coffee, actually. So we're going to charge out the first day to make money on the first cup of coffee. Believe me, we don't start by doing that. So listen, those are some I call lies. There's lies that we tell ourselves. I think construction people, Ron, gaslight themselves, which means that they tell themselves a story that losing money or doing this project is going to be okay because we'll learn and we'll get into it. It's like, dude, don't go looking for some other project to learn. Why don't you learn the one that you are good at? Now, learn that one first, and let's learn how to sell that one first, and how to communicate that to the public. And when we're good at that, we can do a little branch out here and there. But I don't recommend taking on another trade or another a niche of your construction business unless the one you currently master, you're killing it financially. You have to have additional money to be able to go after those other markets and make sure that you're successful. And I'll tell you what, if you have a successful path to the market that you currently do, whether it's decks or siding or roofing or whatever it is, or just general contracting, if you got that path figured out, then a different path will also be easier to figure out because now you know the familiar territory about being that way. You've heard stories about people who said, yeah, give me a cell phone and I'll show you that I can make $1 million in a month with a cell phone. And I've heard, and that's true because they made these millions of dollars before, and they know exactly what to do. I just needed a cell phone to get to those people again and do it. Makes sense, sir? So I think it's the same thing with construction. If you can find a way to get your current business to operate like good, don't go chasing another business to try to niche to try to make try to support the current business. Make sense, sir?
Absolutely, man. So for all the listeners out there that are thinking that they might be interested, what are some of the prerequisites? Or what do you look? It's not even prerequisites. What do you look for in a business?
I look for businesses who are understand that training and coaching and accountability that lack accountability. So there's a lot of good businesses that good things happen to them because they're like the only one in the market. And that's good that you succeed. But here's the thing: if you're a company who is not trained properly or coached properly or doesn't really have accountability, it's possible to be somewhat successful. But I'd say you're always going to have your nose just barely above the water. You're not going to be like, I've got a shitload of money in the bank. Like I've got profit and I can see the profit growing. Because number one, you've heard of KPIs and key performance indicators, but the number one KPI is, are you stacking dollars in your bank account? My accountant says we made money last year. Really? Where's the frick? Why is my account empty? It's like because the accountant will tell you, oh yeah, you good job this year. You did 12% profit. It's like, dude, I have no money in my account. How do you? And here's your tax bill, by the way. Oh shit, really? So you follow me on this? It's like profit means you are stacking dollars in an account. So pay attention to that. Just like when you started this business back a long time ago, you ran it with a checkbook. You bought stuff, you got a truck, you said, okay, the truck I would have to have anyway, so I'm not going to count that. That's good. But you're buying stuff, you're putting it in and you're installing it and doing it. Do we have a positive balance in the bank account? I know it sounds super simple, but the more people create complexity, the more that bank account starts whittling down to nothing. And pretty soon you're working just to supply manufacturers materials to the consumer without you getting anything in the middle of it. Make sense? So I believe that every contractor deserves at least a 30% net profit after taxes. And I think that's going to take a gross profit of 65 to 75% to do that. And that's really what I'm here for. I'm here to make sure that you can create enough value because the prices are increasing on everything. But what hasn't changed is your ability to communicate with people. So we need to increase your ability to communicate with people at a higher level that matches up with the increase in price, so that the pricing, your ability to communicate has kept up with the rate of inflation. Let's put it that way.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I love it. And for all the champions out there listening, if they wanted to connect with you, follow you, talk to you, where's the best places for them to do that?
Well, you can do a couple things. Number one, you just go to servicemvp.com. It's most valuable player.com. See if I can get this in my light here. Servicemvp.com. It's right there on this thing right there. So you can servicemvp.com. You get a free lesson if you want to go there. We also have our best-selling book. It's at over, I think it's 3,000 copies now on Amazon. What should we do? This is like a postcard somebody sent me about. They sent me a thank you card. This guy who sent me this postcard said, I made a custom postcard for you on one of the apps he has. He said, because I made $50,000 on my second call I did, because I figured this would be great to send you as a thank you. He sent me a big thank you message on this thing about it. So so this you can get on Amazon, or if you want to email me and subject free book, I will give you a free book. You just got to pay for shipping. On Amazon, it costs $25.95. I'll send you the book for like I think it's $9.95 shipping. We'll do it for. But if you want that, just email me at Joe at servicemvp, joe@servicemvp.com, and I'll get you a free book for $8.95 shipping and handling, and we'll be happy to give that to you with my compliments. That's all because Ron. He arranged for that. He was a hard negotiator. How can I get a free book for everybody? He told me, and I said, that's a lie. He didn't do that, but I'm just, I figured I'd try and make him feel good because he's such a great host. Thank you, Ron.
I love it, man. Joe, thank you for taking the time and being on the show today.
It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks everybody. Keep serving everybody like you're doing now, but let's try and do it the easy way the next 24 years. Okay.
Awesome, man. I love it. All right, construction champions, another episode in the bag. You just got a free book. Like, what more could you ask for? Resources, resources, resources. We say it on the show all the time. 1% of you is going to take advantage of that offer right there. And that, to me, is a disheartening number, because you guys should you're listening to the podcast because you want to be a construction champion. Let's take some action. I say it on here all the time. Take action, move fast, make things happen. Like, that's how you're going to get where you want to go. So construction champions, make sure you check out all of our great sponsors. And until next time, be the champion you're meant to be.
Hey everyone! Wondering why you need builder comms for your next construction project? Here are 3 solid reasons. First, it keeps your team and clients seamlessly connected in real time. No more delays or communication mishaps. Second, all your critical documents are organized and just a click away. Lastly, accessibility to project photos is immediate and secure. So get builder comms now and experience stress-free project management like never before. Get yours now and simplify your construction projects.